You also talk a lot about cycle syncing on the show. Will you explain what that is?
Yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. So, getting in tune with your cycle. So understanding just the physical aspects of it. So the length of it, typically your symptoms, how you feel in each phase. So that's not physical, but emotional.
Okay, but
mental.
so overall,
all of
that
stuff.
is how you would define cycle syncing.
So yeah, first just understanding what's happening and then syncing with that. So you would adjust your activities based on what's happening in your body in each phase. So just like I was saying with work, but also your social life, your dating life, your, all this different stuff that you can apply to it that way. Mm-hmm. So that way you're honoring your body. So also think about exercise. That's another way that you can do it. So really just understanding your cycle and then applying what you know to the rest of your life.
Awesome. And based on what you were saying before about our diets, I think it's safe to say you're probably not a fan of intermittent fasting or juice cleanses. Are there any diet tips or diet fads that you do recommend?
No.
Okay. I like that. A very clear answer. You're just into intuitive eating and listening to our bodies.
Yeah. So I think I want to stress that intuitive eating doesn't mean that you ignore your health, because I think that that's a big misconception, is that, you just eat whatever you want with no regard to your health.
Right.
But intuitive eating really is about, it's similar to cycle syncing, where you are understanding your body more and making intentional decisions. It's like cycle syncing, but for your diet syncing, I guess. So yeah, I mean, there are 10 principles it's a framework that 2 dietitians came up with. And I just think it's great. I mean, diet culture is just so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's just really, it pulls us away from our intuition. And so I'm all about getting us back into our intuition. So, intuitive eating, you can apply what you know about cycle syncing to intuitive eating, or if you're starting with intuitive eating, you can apply that to your cycle syncing too. So it all works together.
Love it. And you mentioned Oatly on your show at one point, and it, for me, sparked the question. If you guys did not, I can't remember which episode that was. Do you remember which episode of yours?
I don't.
It was very brief.
It was at like the very beginning.
Yeah, it was one of your first few episodes. But to summarize, she talks a lot about how this, advertised milk substitute supposed to be great for us actually was causing a lot of problems and wasn't so great for us. Some of the ingredients that were in it, and you can maybe speak to it a little bit more, but it for me sparked the question, are food alternatives always better for us? Or sometimes we're better off really sticking to the real thing?
It depends. So with an alternative like that, I mean, if dairy doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. So you have to go with an alternative.
Right.
So I'm recalling what that one was about. There was an article that was published about Oatly saying how it was unhealthy, how it was or worse than drinking soda or something because of the sugars and all that.
Exactly. Yes.
And so I was talking about, it's not that bad, it's all about education and understanding what you're putting in your body. And so knowing that, oat milk has sugar in it. So if you have a latte and you're filling it up with oat milk, just understand that maybe that's why you're feeling jittery and anxious later, is because you had that blood sugar spike. And then you decide what to do with that information. Mm-hmm. So alternatives can be better depending on your needs and tastes. It's more just understanding what's in it. I always stress knowing the ingredients. I mean, you don't have to, I'm not like one of those people where you have to pronounce everything. But also just, be aware of what you're putting in your body.
In the quantity that you're putting in as well. Because I think that was really what you broke it down to is, sure, could you equate it to a can of soda? Maybe, but how much of it are you actually drinking? If you're just putting a splash in your coffee, this article doesn't really apply to you, but if you are doing a large latte and there's 1 or 2 cups of Oatly, or you're having, multiple coffees per day, then maybe you want to keep track of how much you're consuming.
Yeah. So that's another thing about intuitive eating is, educating yourself about how things affect you and then making intentional decisions from there. So that's kind of what I was talking about in the episode is, understanding there may be a lot of sugar in this. And if you are drinking a lot of it, take note of how you feel and then decide.